Shout out to G-Man Boxing.
Alright, people. Eddie Hearn gave an interview with the DAZN Boxing Show. Now, in that interview, he stated that Shelley Finkel has actually replied to him an email. I believe he said he sent in August just gone, with the view of making Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua next year. Now, this is the first time since probably 2018 that we've really heard any movement on this fight. And, it just got me thinking. If you look at the way Wilder had his comeback fight and how he's potentially going to have his next fight with Andy Ruiz to put him in a position to challenge for a world title, I think that starting with Hellenius, I think stylistically Ruiz is I just can't see how Wilder doesn't win that fight. If you think of that and how Wilder's being brought back, a nice, big, devastating KO win, get your confidence up, the Bronze Bomber is back, stuff like that. Follow that up with Ruiz, especially if you can do it in decent style. That will help Wilder exponentially. Now, if you contrast that to Anthony Joshua, the way he's being brought back, name that is on everyone's lips right now for his comeback fight next year is Dillian Whyte. Now, Dillian Whyte, how do I say it? I think that it's fine personally, but other names that are floating around are names like Otto Verlaine. When the name Gerald Washington was brought up, a lot of people like Ant-Man thought that's not a good comeback opponent in a sense if it's not a tough test, which it's not. We'd all expect Joshua to blow him out and probably around, realistically. If he really puts his foot on the gas, he could get him out of there in a round or two. Hatman would say it's a good opponent to come back against, not in terms of, he's not going to bring Joshua a threat, but just to get Joshua's confidence back, especially after back-to-back losses and having that episode in the ring after the Usyk rematch. That's just what he needs. And I can kind of see where he's coming from with that, to be honest with you. But Eddie Hearn shut that down, where he said that Joshua himself doesn't want easy fights. Now, how true that is, I don't know. But it got me thinking, right? You're dealing with Anthony Joshua, who I think needs, to really be rehabbed. Someone asked me in my live last night, who would I send them back in there against? If it was up to me. And thinking of it realistically, I probably would send him in there with Gerald Washington next. And then maybe put him in with a Dillian Whyte. And then maybe after that, or maybe not even Dillian Whyte, maybe Charles Martin after Gerald Washington, and then put him in with Dillian Whyte. 3 fights, 3 confidence builders. I want to say you're progressively stepping it up each time. And the reason I say Charles Martin is that you could sell it as, Charles Martin got AJ lifted off in 2016. Well, here's AJ part 2 of his career and he's lifted it off again, from a promotional point of view. And again, a confidence fight, confidence builder. And I was thinking, that probably would be the route I'd go, because they're all easy enough fights. Dillian Whyte would possibly be the exception, although I still think Joshua would win that fight comfortable enough. Maybe he'd be a bit wary of the left hook, though, to be fair. And I think that, to me, that's a good way of looking at it. But mentioning, Otto Verlaine, Deontay Wilder, I just, even Zhilei Zhang, I think that is... Not to say he can't win all them fights. The Wilder one, I don't know. I wouldn't be picking him, put it like that. But if you wanted to build a fighter's confidence, having fights against guys who, you can win, but you're not going to look devastating against, especially not someone like an Otto Verlaine, whose name has been mentioned a few times. A Caballel, you're not going to look devastating against him. He could spoil real bad. And, I don't know how that would fix AJ's confidence. And, I said this, I think about a week ago, and it got me, the more I think about it, the more I think that AJ may very well be regretting signing that career-long promotional deal with Eddie Hearn. And he may very well, maybe not regretting signing with the DAZN per se, but maybe committing his long-term future to it. And the reason why I say that is there's several reasons. The first of which is the fact that the DAZN and Eddie Hearn can really dictate who AJ fights next rather than him. I'm sure AJ gets a say in it, but there's only Eddie Hearn have a say in it as well. And the reason why they want guys like Dillian Whyte, Otto Verlaine, Deontay Wilder, etc., is because they're paying AJ an enormous amount of money, which they are, and you can't justify putting Gerald Washington versus Anthony Joshua on pay-per-view. You just can't do it. I wouldn't even, the fact that there's no title now and he's coming off a loss. Well, he actually, to be fair, he won his last fight against Devin Vargas, I think was who Charles Martin fought last. But you couldn't again justify putting that on pay-per-view. You can justify putting Dylan White on pay-per-view. In my opinion, you could justify Otto Wallin on pay-per-view. Deontay Wilder, take my money. Take my money. There you go. I wouldn't. That perfect. And I think that's what the Zone are looking at. And, you know, with Anthony Joshua, he's locked in with Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn has a say. The Zone is his network that are paying him a great amount of money, and he's got shares in the Zone as well, as far as I believe as well. No, he definitely does. So they want to put these fights on pay-per-view. They want to recoup some of the money they're paying him. Are they going to be paying him the 50 mil a fight we heard pre-USEC? Well, I don't know about that, but they're definitely going to be needing to, because obviously contingency, I think, would have been put in place in case he lost, which he did. But I definitely think that they are going to be looking to recoup money. And with the Conor Benn situation, I mean, that's just, where do we even start with that? And who else do they have? Don't really have anyone else. You know, certainly on this side of the pond anyway, they don't really seem to have anyone else who is a star. And Joshua's stock is definitely dropped, but he has enough star power that if you put him with the right guy, you could do it on pay-per-view. And this got me thinking as well, you know, there's Joshua signing a career-long deal with Eddie Hearn. Joshua's always spoke about loyalty. At the end of the day, I don't think loyalty has any place in boxing, because Eddie Hearn, you know, when Joshua retires and it's all said and done, he can still carry on. I said it was the same, like why he stayed with Rob McCracken as long. When Joshua retires, Rob McCracken's still going to be training, you know, fighters. And that's just going to happen. He's going to keep going on and going on and going on. When Joshua retires, that's it. When any fighter retires, that's it. You have a finite window to make money. Don't waste it with one promoter or one manager, one trainer, etc. If, you know, you feel with this trainer I can do better, with this manager I can do better, with this promoter I can get bigger fights, I can make more money. Loyalty has no place when it comes in the world of boxing, in my opinion. So Joshua signing that career-long deal with Eddie Hearn, I wonder, is he now regretting it? Because Joshua is bigger than the Zone and the Matchroom brand. Just like Canelo Alvarez, he is the person people are coming to see. It's not like the UFC where it doesn't matter who's on the card. You know, you could push whoever on the card, but people would still go and watch because it's UFC. When they know the UFC's in town, they're like, oh, this is going to be good, UFC. Who's fighting? Don't know, but it's the UFC. You know, that's the brand. But with Joshua and Canelo, it's like, you know, Joshua's fighting on, hypothetically speaking, Fight TV. Really? Better download that app. Well, who's he fighting? Don't know, but it's Joshua fighting. That's the kind of guy, that's the kind of star power Joshua has. So for me, I find it just baffling that after, well, even before the first USEC fight, Joshua didn't look and say, do you know what? I can fight on BT Sport if I want for a fight and make an absolute bomb there. I can fight on the Zone, pay-per-view. Next fight, make a bomb there. Maybe have a 2-fight deal with the Zone. Make, you know, 2 massive paydays. Maybe go back to Sky. You know, if I decide to fight Deontay Wilder, they bid an X amount of money, I'm having it on Sky. I don't see why he didn't do that. And I think with him doing that and him having his own management company, 258 Management, it would have given him the freedom to really decide and really pick who the right opponents are coming back. Who do I want to fight? Who is going to help me look? Who am I going to look devastating against? And who is going to help me, you know, progress in my career in that sense? You know, it's not to say fighting, you know, the likes of an Otto Wallin or someone like that wouldn't help. You know, I'm sure it would, but I think Joshua needs to get his confidence back right now. And I think fighting someone like even a Chris Arreola, you know, I think he'd wipe Chris Arreola out, to be honest with you. He really stepped on the gas. But could you put that on pay-per-view? I don't think so. And I think that's the dilemma he finds himself in there with now. Bit of a long-winded one, but if I was in charge of Joshua, I would probably... Joshua's not old. You know, he's what, 32, 33? He's still got plenty of time. He's never really... Like, yeah, he's had some tough fights. Klitschko was tough. Ruiz was tough the first fight. But those USEC fights, Neither of them were really, really hard, grueling fights where he took a shellacking. He was just outboxed. He was just schooled both times by Usyk. I mean, he didn't take a serious beating. Yeah, he took a few stiff shots in the 12th round. He was close to going down of the first fight. But that's really it. So Joshua hasn't got that many miles on the clock. I'm sure if I was managing him, I'd be saying, look, it's 2023. Let's get 3 fights in this year. Progressively step it up, but let's all have confidence builders and let's attack 2024. Let's attack 2024, but let's work on getting your confidence back in 2023. I think going in, I'd love to see the fight, but I think Joshua versus Wilder at this stage, I wouldn't like to see it personally. I think that could end in tears for Anthony Joshua, personally. And if he loses, and again, you got to figure, someone like a Valeen is tricky. So imagine they did put him in there with Valeen instead of Dylan White, or if he gets by White, if they can't make Deontay Wilder, put him in without a Valeen. He's tricky and he's awkward, and AJ might look the best in it. You know what I mean? And I wonder if that will help his progression. I don't know if it will or not. Who knows? Bit of a long-winded one here. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you, like me, think now we're starting to see the downside? And to be honest with you, I would be always someone who'd advocate, unless you're probably fresh out of the amateurs, not to sign a long-term deal with a promoter. If you're a fighter who's had 20 odd fights, you're at a decent level, 3-fight deal max, and then see. If you're signing long-term deals, it just isn't a good thing. I said that about Daniel Dubois in 2020 when he signed a 5-year deal with Fish Eyes. I was like, bad idea, don't do that. Isaac Chamberlain, when he signed, a 5-year deal with Mick Hennessy, I was like, mate, what the hell? I don't like seeing fighters, because if it goes south, you're stuck. You're stuck with him. And that's why I think you're better off just going on a fight-by-fight basis, 3-fight deal and stuff like that, and you're good to go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Do you think Joshua, well, it's too late to do it now, but do you think he's having regrets about showing loyalty to Hearn and DAZN and going down that road? Or do you think that actually, no, Dylan White and Deontay Wilder 2023 is the perfect time? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video, people. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Midweek report later. This is being recorded on a Tuesday night. I start my first day in a new job the next day. Well, technically the morning when this goes out. So we'll see. I'll talk about that more in midweek report. And we've got plenty to talk about midweek report. I'll catch you this evening. Until then, people. Peace.